Okay. So today what we'll do is today we'll be getting started with the logical operator, where we'll be understanding the logical operator from the practical perspective, as well as we'll try to understand what are the different type of logical operators that are actually important as per as the syllabus of class 11. Okay. So generally for the syllabus of class 11, there are two type of operators that we'll be using. That is the and the or. It is one of the most common operators that we use for Python. Okay. So we'll try to understand what exactly the or and operator signifies and what exactly the or operator signifies with the help of some practical perspective. Okay, let us move to the Excel sheet so that we can understand this in a better way. So here you can see that generally, as I said, there are two type of operators, the and the or. So in order to understand that, what we'll do is first we will be understanding the and operator with the help of a truth table. Then what we'll do is we will implement the and operator in Python. Okay, the same logic will be implemented in Python. Okay, so what exactly the truth table of and signifies? Okay, for example, if I have two values or two input, let's say input 1 and input 2, and yes, one column for output. Okay. Let's say the input 1 is true and the input 2 is false. Okay. So for AND operation, those who already know what exactly the truth table is, then for AND operation we'll be getting the ultimate result to be as false. Okay. Similarly, for the second, let us try to understand with this with a second case where the input 1 is false and the input 2 is true. In this case, the output will be once again false. Okay, and yes, and for the third case, let's say if both the inputs are false, in that case also you will be getting the ultimate output to be as false. But what if both the inputs are true? If both the inputs are true, in that case what you will get is you will get both the yes, you will get the final output to be as true. It means that if and only if both the inputs are true, in that case the output will be considered to be as true. Okay, if and only if both the inputs are true, then only the final output will be considered as true. Okay, so it means what? It means that AND operator, being a binary operator, will accept two kind of inputs or multiple inputs. Okay, so what it is going to do is it is going to compare those inputs. Okay, basically it is going to compare the condition of the inputs and it is going to check whether the conditions are true or not. So if the condition stays to be true, in that case the output will be considered to be as a true value. Okay, yes, let us try to understand this with an example. Okay, great. So yes, let us have a value a is equal to 20, b is equal to 30. Okay, so if we perform the AND operation between them, okay, if we perform the AND operation between them, and let us try to find what we are exactly going to get. If we perform the AND operation, then let us try to see that what exactly we are going to get if we perform the AND operation between A and B. Okay, A greater than B and B greater than A. Okay, so in this case, this condition that I'm passing over here, A greater than B, is not at all true because A is not greater than B. But the second condition that I'm getting over here, that is B greater than A, okay, that is B greater than A, is true, but this is not true. Okay, that means this part is false and this part is true. So the moment I execute the code, okay, so the moment I execute the code, so you get the output to be as false. So why we get the output to be as false? Because as per the AND operation, the AND operation signifies that if either one of the input is false, in that case the ultimate output is going to be false, or the ultimate output that we have to consider is false. Okay, so let us interchange the operators. Okay, let us interchange the relational operators. For this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to interchange this with B, and yes, once again I'm going to interchange this with A. Okay, so yes, let us execute the code once again. Once again we are getting the output to be as false. Okay, the reason why we are getting the output to be as false, because once again it is said that if either one of the condition is false, then ultimately we are going to get the output to be as false. So what if both the conditions are true? Okay, if both the conditions are true, let's say this. Okay, yes, b is greater than a in this case once again, and in this case also b is greater than a. So the moment I execute the code, you get the output to be as true. I hope the concept of AND operator is clear. So let us try to understand the next type of operator that we have is basically the OR operator. So what we are going to have for OR operator is that if we have both the inputs, let's say input 1 and input 2, and either one of the input is true, then the ultimate output will be considered to be as true. The ultimate output will be considered to be as true. Okay. So for this case also it will be true, for this case also it will be true. It means that दोनों में से कोई भी अगर input अगर true होता है, तो in that case we'll be considering the output to be as true. But if both of them are false, in that case we'll be considering the output to be as false. Okay, so yes, let us try to understand this practically. Obviously दोनों true होगा तो फिर definitely true मिलने वाला है, but क्या आप एक को false कर देते हैं ना, a is equal to b. We know that a is not equal to b, but if we execute the code, once again we are going to get the output to be as true, because as per OR operator, OR means what? Option, right? OR means what? We have options, either you select this or that. Okay, you have to select anything, right? So yes, both any one of the option can be true, or any one of the condition needs to be true. If any one of the condition is true, in that case the final output will be also considered to be as true. Okay, so yes, if I interchange this with this, let's say this with, let's say, yeah. Okay, so the moment I execute the code, you see that I'm getting true once again. Okay, so that's it for the OR operator. It works on the basis of Boolean logic. So whenever we talk about Boolean logic means that we are dealing with two kind of values, either true or false. Okay, we're not going to deal with any kind of any values other than that. Okay, it might happen that you're passing some sort of numerical values, you're passing some sort of variables, you're passing some sort of yes, conditions, but yes, in the backend ultimately it is going to evaluate on the basis of true or false. Okay, so that's it for the logical operator. As I said, there are two kind of logical operators, the and the or operator. Yes, so that's it for the logical operator. Let us move on to the next concept, that is punctuators. So what exactly punctuators are? Okay, so punctuators are the special symbols, okay, are the symbols that you will be using while writing your programs, so like yes, single quote, double quote, hash, forward slash, backward slash, parenthesis. Remember that these are known as the parenthesis. Okay, in programming these are known as the parenthesis, square brackets, curly braces, at, comma, colon, dot, and equal to. Okay, so yes, these are the symbols that you will be using frequently while programming. Okay, so these are the punctuators. Okay, so in short, punctuators are the symbols that you will be using to write the Python program. Let's get started with the expressions. Okay, so what exactly expressions are? Let us try to understand. In mathematics, you must have seen that whenever we have stuffs like this, 2 plus 3, 2 plus 4 into, let's say, 10. Okay, so this is an expression, right? This is an expression. Okay, similarly we can have algebraic expression, right? Similarly we can have expression with some sort of constant values. Okay, so any mathematical stuffs which have the operators and the operands can be termed as the expressions. Okay, so yes, the concept of expression is similar to what you have already learned in mathematics. Okay, the concept of expression is similar in Python to what you have learned in mathematics. For example, if I have if I within this expression, if I have a segment where we have the parenthesis, let's say 4 plus 5. In this case, I hope you know that the 4 plus 5 part is going to get executed for the first, is going to get executed first, then it will be evaluated with the later part of the expressions, right? Since it is under the parenthesis, then definitely this part is going to execute first. Okay, the reason is because we know that expression have precedence, which is also known as which is also followed which is based on the Bodmer's rule of mathematics. Okay, so yes, the evaluation of expression to Python is similar to what we have already learned in mathematics. In case if you have any queries with respect to expressions, like what exactly expressions are and how to write an expression in Python, you can ask. Else I will move ahead with the statement part. Okay, I see that there are no queries. I believe that expressions are clear to everyone. So let us move ahead to the statement part. So what exactly statements are in Python? See, whatever we write, that's a print to display. Print, we know that as of now, we already know that print is used to display anything. So this is a statement. So this is also a statement. So whatever we write is a statement in Python. Okay, so there are multiple types of statement that we'll come to know in the upcoming classes, but as of now please try to understand that all these are statements. So whatever we write in Python belongs to the category of statements. Okay, so what exactly comments are? Okay, so yes, whenever we talk about comments, comments are those portion of the code which are omitted while execution, so whenever I have a comment in the code, then that part won't be executed by the interpreter, that part won't be considered by the interpreter, and that part will be skipped while converting the code. Okay, that part will be skipped while converting the code. So how exactly comments are given and how exactly comments work? Okay, so in case if you want to write, let's say this is the first expression. Okay, this is the first expression you want to write, and this has got nothing to do with the execution. So in that case, what you will do is you will write, you will give a hash followed by this is the first execution. This is the first execution. So the moment you execute the code, you see that you don't get an error. But if I remove this hash and execute it, okay, so you get error, that also the syntax error in the first line. So the moment I use hash, okay, the moment I use hash, this part will be omitted and we won't get an error while the execution. Okay, so yes, if I let's print in the value of a, so yes, you can see that the value of a is 51, and this part is also not getting printed. This part stays in the code itself. So comments are basically used for referencing purpose. So why do we use comments? See, you're not going to write 3 to 4 lines of code for your entire life. Okay, so if you talk about big projects, big applications. Okay, for an instance, like let us take the example of this Google Meet. So Google Meet, if you talk about Google Meet application is based on multiple stack of applications where many people have worked on this project, and there are tons of lines of code. Okay, so yes, suddenly if a new person comes and he's being involved in the Google Meet team, who is responsible to work on this project. In that case, in order to understand the code, like which part is what and what is the significance of this part, if there are proper documentation, if there are proper commenting in the code, in that case it becomes very easy for the other developers as well as for you to recall it later. Okay, so if yes, if you have comments, in that case it becomes very easy for us to understand like which part of code was written with what kind of intention, right, and what is the purpose of this particular section. Okay, so commenting will basically help us to understand that block which block of code is doing what kind of task. Okay, so yes, commenting are one of the most important concepts of programming. Yes, if you have commenting, in that case understanding the program becomes easy. So that's why we generally use commenting while we're writing tons of lines of code. Okay, similarly you can have multiple lines of comments. Yes, there are multiple processes or multiple ways of writing multiple lines of comments. Yes, this is one method like this. Generally I prefer this. Just give a hashtag in the next line. Okay, let's this is a demo comment. Okay, so this way we can have multiple lines of comments. Okay, great. So yes, the next portion that we are going to discuss is exactly the block and indentation. So what exactly blocks are and what exactly indentation mean? Okay, so whenever we talk about blocks are those segments of code which have the header part, okay, and the body part, Okay, for example, if you have a code where we have a condition, okay, uh, what exactly these conditions are, that will come, that we'll discuss in the upcoming classes. But as of now, please try to understand. Let's say I have a code where I'm checking, let's say a is greater than 0. Okay, I'm giving colon, then I'm writing over here print hello. Okay, so this part, whenever I have colon, after the colon, this region, this region will be considered to be as the block of this if. Okay, this entire region will be considered to be as the block of the if. Okay, so yes, let us go to the word so that we can understand it in a better way. Okay, so yes, this portion, this particular portion will be classified as the block. Okay, so this particular portion will be classified as the block. Okay, so yes, so whenever we talk about block, blocks are being created after this column. Okay, blocks are being created after this column. So whenever we have this column, after this, the entire portion that will be indented in this pattern, that will be indented in this pattern, will be considered as block. So after this, the entire portion that will be indented in this region will be considered to be as block. Are you getting the point? This portion will be considered to be as the block. Okay, yes, remember that indentation should be maintained in this pattern. I hope you know what exactly indentation means. Indentation means ये जो ये तुम्हें दिख रहा है ना, इस पॉइंट से हम लोगों ने प्रिंट लिखा हुआ है, तो इसी पैटर्न में, इसी लाइन में ही आना पड़ेगा. ऐसा नहीं कि प्रिंट तुमने यहां से लिखा तो नेक्स्ट पॉइंट तुमने यहां से स्टार्ट किया. यहां से स्टार्ट नहीं कर सकते, तुम्हें इसी लाइन में, इसी जगह से ही तुम्हें लिखना पड़ेगा. That's why we call it indented. Okay, since we have some sort of space from this portion to this portion, we have some sort of space. That's why we call it to be indented. And yes, and from this portion, you need to maintain, or you need to write the content for the if part. Okay, so yes, if you don't maintain the indentation, what we are going to happen, what is going to happen? Okay, so if you don't maintain the indentation, in that case, this portion or this region won't be considered to be the part of if statement. Okay, it won't be considered to be the part of if statement. Okay, it will be considered to be part of this generalized statement. Okay, so if you consider, or if you need to have the block of if, in that case, as I said, you need to maintain this indentation. You need to write your code in this format. Okay, okay, you need to write your code in this region. Okay, it can be of any length. It is not necessary that it should be of this much length, but yes, the indentation should be maintained properly, and it should be written in this region, from this region. That means you are writing your code from this region. Okay, it should not be written from this part, it should not be written from this part. Okay, it should be written from this part. That's why we call it as block. Okay, you can see over here there is an example which is given over here. Okay, so this is the block. Okay, it is written over here, and this is the header part of the statement. Okay, this is the header part, and this is the body part. In Python, indentation are one of the most significant thing. Okay, so whenever we talk about indentation, indentation means some sort of space that we need to maintain while writing the code. Okay, so that we can signify that this is the region, this is the region of this particular portion, or this is the area for this particular logic. Earlier in the programming languages where we didn't have the concept of indentation, we generally used curly braces. Okay, तो एक yes, एक जावा का एग्जांपल लेते हैं इफ स्टेटमेंट का, ताकि तुम्हें समझ में आए कि जावा में स्टेटमेंट किस तरीके से लिखा जाता है. So in order to signify that this portion is the this region is the part of the if statement, we use curly braces. But in case of Python, we don't use this curly braces. Okay, as we said that in Python we need to write minimum number of lines of code. Okay, so in Python we don't use this curly braces. Instead, what we do is we use this colon, and we maintain the indentation. If we use a good ID, automatically the indentation will be maintained, because the ID will get to know that you are using the if statement. So the moment I hit enter, it will maintain the indentation, it will give some spaces, and it will come towards this part. So if I write print, and if I come to the next line, then also the indentation will be maintained. So I'm not maintaining it manually, it is being maintained automatically, because I'm using an ID. Okay, that to the PyCharm ID. So if you use some basic ID, in that case the indentation won't be maintained, and automatically the cursor will come to this region. In that case, you have to give the tab, and you have to maintain the indentation. You just press the tab, because tab consists of 4 spaces, and the indentation will be maintained automatically after that. So that's it for the block part and the indentation part. Okay, in the next class, what we'll do is we'll be trying to understand the variables in the assignment portion.